Hello, God bless. It's me, Dick Jr. I'm here today to read Matthew 25. I don't have a lot of references from this one. This is the words of Jesus, and so from the first word to the last in this chapter, every one of them's read, so they're all the words of Jesus. This is a continuation of Matthew 24, obviously, because it's Matthew 25. But in Matthew 24, we started off with a question where they asked Jesus if he saw how beautiful the temple was, and Jesus told them that there would be no stones left upon another. And then they asked about the end of times, what it was going to be like, when it was going to come. And so he spent the entire chapter in 24 telling us about these events, and he continues on in chapter 25 to explain things having to do with judgment and being ready for his return. Okay, so I have prayed and asked God to help me speak with you, and I suggest any time that you put yourself in his word that you pray and ask him to help you understand it, and he will, because he promises he will. It's in here. So I'm going to start here in chapter 25 verse 1, and I'm going to read it through, but I'll probably pause in quite a few places because this is there's some very powerful things, important things that Jesus tells us right here. And well, anyway, I'm just going to start reading. Then the kingdom of heaven will be compared to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. The bridegroom is Jesus. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were prudent. And I want to make a challenge that the prudent ones remind the foolish ones, even if they don't want to hear it. Still remind them. Okay? For when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them, but the prudent took oil in flasks along with their lamps. Now, while the bridegroom was delaying, so he was taking a long time, kind of like Jesus, okay? They all got drowsy and began to sleep. But at midnight, there was a shout, and that's how Jesus is going to come. If you want me to go through some other scriptures at some point, I will here, but there'll be a shout and a trumpet, and yeah, he'll be there. Behold, the bridegroom come out to meet him. Then all those virgins rose and trimmed their lamps. And they were trimming the wick because they get kind of fluffy at the end after they burn for a while, I believe, or they get hardened at the end, one or the other, but it has to be trimmed. And then you pull it up a little. And they were filling them with oil. And the foolish said to the prudent, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the prudent answered, "No, there will not be enough for us and you too. Go instead to the dealers and buy some for yourselves." And this is where I challenge you as one of the prudent ones. Okay, when you go to get your oil, try to convince them to get theirs too. Okay? Then you're showing love. And while they were going away to make the purchase, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was shut. Later the other virgins also came, saying, "Lord, Lord, open up for us." But he answered, "Truly I say to you, I do not know you. Be on the alert." And that's what Jesus says. Be on the alert. Be on the alert, then, for you do not know the day nor the hour. So be on the alert. Be alert. The world needs more alerts. 14. For it is just like a man about to go on a journey, who called his own slaves and entrusted his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, which is a money, denomination of money. It's like 1,000 denarius, I believe, or something like that. Anyway, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his own ability. So he had a slave that was very prudent, and another slave that was still pretty good, and another slave that wasn't as good as the other 2, but he wanted to give each of them money when he left. To one he gave talents, each to his journey ability, and he went on his journey. Okay. Immediately the one who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and gained 5 more talents. In the same manner, the one who had received the 2 talents gained 2 more. But the one who received the 1 talent went away and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of the house of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. The one who had received the 5 talents came up and brought 5 more talents, saying, Master, you entrusted me 5 talents. To me, see, I have gained 5 more talents. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Also the one who had received 2 talents came up and said, Master, you entrusted 2 talents to me. See, I have gained 2 more talents. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. And the one who had received the 1 talent came up and said, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. And I was afraid, and went away and hid your talent in the ground. See, you have what is yours. But his master answered and said to him, You wicked, lazy slave, you knew that I reap where I do not sow, and gather where I scattered no seed. Then you ought to have put my money in the bank, and on my arrival I would have received my money back with interest. Therefore take away the talent from him, and give it to the one who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more shall be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who does not have, even what he has shall be taken away. He's not talking about money right here. He's talking about peace and joy and spirit. If you have the Spirit of God upon you and in you, and the Word of God in your heart and in your mind, okay, you're going to have an abundance of joy. Is basically what I'm saying. And if you do not have these things, then you have some semblance of joy. Then even that will be ruined, is what Jesus is saying here. So we're going to 30. Throw out the worthless slave into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And he's talking about the slave who got 1 talent, buried it, brought back 1, not the ones who prospered. Okay? And when he's talking about prospering here, I don't solely believe Jesus is saying, if God gives you $5, go out and come back with 10. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if he gives you that, you can build tenfold treasure in heaven by helping another man. And the reason I'm saying this is because we're going to go into another parable here coming up, and you're going to hear him say this same thing. And then I'm going to really stress some of this because it talks about who we really need to be helping. So, but when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. And that's why I said this was also about the end of times, not just about what he was talking about when I started the video. So, all the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them from one another as the shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. So that'd be right and left. And then the king will say to those on his right, Come, you who are blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. And now he's going to explain why he's telling them this. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. Feed the hungry. Okay? I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. Feed the hungry. Okay? I was a stranger, and you invited me in. Out-of-towners, foreigners, and homeless folks. These are who he's talking about right here. Okay? Anybody who's strange to you. And you invited me in. Naked, and you clothed me. Once again, homeless, broken people. Okay? I was sick, and you visited me. The sick, obviously. Okay? I was in prison, and you came to me. Prisoners. Real prisoners. Not just the spiritual prisoners you like to talk about. I was in a prison of my own. Or, you see what I mean? He's talking about prisoners. Where are you going to find those who need Jesus? Okay? Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? And when did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, truly I say to you, to the extent that you did it to one of these brothers of mine, anyone, okay, even the least of them, you did it to me. So feed them, clothe them. Then he will also say to those on his left, depart from me, accursed ones, into the eternal fire which has been prepared for the devil and his angels. And when I was talking about the talents and the prospering, now you're going to understand. These folks on the right over here, okay, they gave it away. God gave it to them, and they gave it away. That's how they prospered. See what I mean? These folks over here, God gave it to them, and they buried it. See where I'm at? Okay, so then he will also say to those on his left, depart from me, accursed ones, into the eternal fire which has been prepared for the devil and his angels. I can take you to many places for this reference. I know Revelation is one. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. Naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick, and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they themselves also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and did not take care of you? Then he will answer them, truly I say to you, to the extent that you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. So when we don't help others, this is what he does. This is his problem. And this is the problem we have today. So that's part of loving your brother. Jesus never preached anything bad. You see what I mean? What he's telling them here, to love each other, to clothe us, to visit the sick and the prisoners, to feed people, to clothe people. You see what I mean? There's no sin in any of those things. So truly I say to you, to the extent that you did not. So then verse 46 is the last one here. These will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. And you can't buy your way into heaven, okay? But if you're saved and you're given the ability, share. And this is what he's talking about here, okay? And those who don't share are still going to be separated off, you know. The world, this is the world, you know, this is how they feel about it. He wants you to feel this way. You just do it, okay? I really don't have much else on this. I just think that we need to remember that we need to feed the hungry, and we need to clothe and invite in the stranger, and that we need to remember the sick and the prisoners, and literal prisoners I'm talking about. You know, that's what he's talking about, the convicted. Okay? You remember the 3 people on the cross, and the one man that was there was a thief, and Jesus forgave him right then. Okay? Because he asked him to. Okay? So we should forgive prisoners the same. All prisoners. Okay? So yeah, that's all I really have. I'm going to just go ahead and say goodbye and God bless.